cool. It's so funny how my laptop's in night shift. Like where it dims, not dims, but like makes the colors warmer. Because it's 10 at night actually, but you can't tell. Because that's how I roll. So happy to have you back for another episode. I had something happen last night that kind of finally made me realize how I was going to do the intro, because I was grappling with that for a little bit. So just last night I made my way down to the basement gym at like 30 to midnight. Like my sleep schedule is a whole nother topic of messed up. Is a whole nother level of messed up actually. And it has to do with like having a double life in Los Angeles, like on the West Coast. Yeah. When I'm here in Central Europe. It's tricky, but I love it. So I was headed to a workout at 30 to midnight, and I realized my sister had gone out and she wasn't back yet. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, nothing off there at all. Like, my siblings frequently go out now that they're older, and that's cool. But what's off about that, I kind of realized, was how I was going for a workout pretty late instead of going out with my sister. And that's basically the realms of what I'm going to talk about in this episode. And it's going to possibly be one of the first, a little more controversial topics I want to get into, not because of the topic itself, but because of how I feel about it. So where do I begin? I woke up one day and I had this thought just like screaming in my head, like, yo, you don't have a normal life. Like, it's pretty apparent if you just knew the first thing about me. Like, and that's kind of how I wanted to start the entire podcast, like the first episode. Like, I woke up one day and I realized I don't have a normal life. Like, but that seemed so extremely snobbish and like smug almost. Like I'm something else. That's not the point at all. Just a little bit. Yeah, and maybe I should start by the fact that I'm addressing my sisters a lot because I don't like have friends around here at all. No. Of course I have like wonderful people to call on and like that help me through the worst times of my life and that build me up, and they're always there for me. It's just that they're like physically across the world in the US on the West Coast or on the East Coast actually. You know who we are on the East Coast. Over here, I just don't, and there's a specific reason for that I'll get to in another episode. So I never actually had friends in school. Well, up until like 13, when my only friend moved away. So from then on until 19, yeah, I was basically friendless. I was also extremely shy and I just like hated myself for the most part. So I really don't blame anyone or, yeah, I actually totally, so I really don't blame it on anyone else. It's really had to do with the way that I carried myself for the most part, honestly. And I used to be like really sad about it for a long time, like actually up until very recently, but that's changed for the better. And actually one thing that explains it pretty well is this one line by John Bellion actually, that goes like, dreams that I wrote down, they came to life. I'm glad I lived my life preoccupied. Something like that is like the chorus. I love that shit. Like, couldn't describe my life any better. I'm gonna probably mention a lot of like just the lyrics because that's so my thing. I don't care what anyone says. I was so terribly nerdy in school. Like when the bell rang and everyone was like getting up to do fuck knows what, I would stay put at my desk and like make sure I got as much homework done as possible until the bus came 30 minutes later, so that when I got home, I would have a clear head to pursue my music thing. Okay, but I'm slowly getting to the point, because not only was I friendless for like the majority of my teens, but also I have never had a boyfriend in my entire life. No. And I'm currently a disappointing 25. And I used to feel like that was a huge problem and like a huge punch to the gut. Like no one's ever loved you, or no one's ever cared to invest in you, or I had all these terrible, terrible thoughts just going back and forth. It took until like the last heartbreak, so until a few months ago, like I talked about it in the first episode, yeah, and that truly just gave me some kind of internal revelation. I worked so hard this summer so far, and even before that, I could already tell like something was really changing in me. Might have to do with turning 25, but it's really just simply this super freeing realization that there is nothing at all wrong with me, and if anything, everything's going to plan, because I never wanted a boyfriend. Like I mean, of course, at times for sure, but I never really actually wanted to take the time for that anyway. So I just realized like, yo, there's nothing wrong with me, and I don't need anyone. I'm completely and totally whole, and there's nothing anyone could actually contribute to my daily life. Like I can just freely breathe and accept that I don't need to be chasing after anyone, because A, they'll come chasing after me anyway, like they always do, and second, I don't need anyone to complete me. And I know that's like not even like the vision you have when you're looking for, that's not what you're supposed to be looking for, like someone to complete you and like be like feeling like you're incomplete. That's probably not even what you're looking for. Is it? I don't know. I don't know why people go into relationships, to be honest. I still don't know. I don't know. But like I'm so complete and happy with the people that I have around me. I have the most incredible friends. Not many, but just top notch. And that's all because I made sure I really knew who I was and what I didn't want. I experienced a lot of, situations where I just clearly learned what it looks like when people have the wrong intentions with you. And I became extremely hypersensitive to that, for better or worse, but I know what I want and what I don't want, and it's been amazing since. Like, I don't have any interpersonal issues ever. Not in the past 5 years. And I don't think I ever will, because I'm so selective, if that sounds right. Probably, it's gonna sound a bit smug, and that's why I said in the beginning, like, this is gonna probably put some people off. I've definitely had people message me about this and be like, who do you think you are, like, being so selective about who you accept as a, like, real life friend. When really, I don't know, there's so many reasons for that. There's been so much done to me wrongly that I don't have any tolerance for any more of that. I don't have any more time for any more of that. Like, I've suffered and lost so much time over being mistreated that, you know, you kind of fucked it up with me. You kind of fucked it up. But I'm not in any ways like closed up or prejudiced. I swear to God. I don't think anyone would have this impression of me that I'm prejudiced or that I like run you through certain steps. Like when I meet someone for the first time, do I run them through like selective steps of like, do they make a friend like worth my time, or are they giving a weird vibe? I don't know. But yeah, I must say, if you do, there are certain things that I notice right away and I'm gonna be like, eh. But yeah, I still do believe in love. I don't know. That's the whole thing. And I'll get to it later. But I do believe that once the stars align, everything will be okay. And, you know, if there's someone out there for me, he's probably in my life already. But about that, like after this recent heartbreak, I wrote a lot of stuff. And one line stood out to me especially, and it goes kind of like, my heart in pieces was the peace I needed, and after grievance I can finally feel it. So yeah, I'm really sorry like about if should that still happen, that I treat people with a certain selective process that's going on in the back of my head, where I'm like, you know, are you truly saying what you mean and all of that stuff? Or, oh my God, there's another thing that I do. And, oh, that's very personal, but before I hook up with someone, which does not happen ever, like once in a blue moon, whatever that means in terms of real life time, you know, like once a year. But what I have to do even like weeks before that is I have to know who that is exactly. Like who am I dealing with? I have to go and dig deep. Like I'll search the internet for weeks just to make sure I've seen and read everything. I can go to crazy extremes, and my friends know that. And it's definitely not normal. It's a bit psychopathic, but that's what my past made me. And I need to work on that for sure. But I don't actually care. But yeah, I'm generally like still working through that a lot. And unfortunately, I haven't gone to much therapy about it. I should take the time for that. But like I said, it's not really the time right now for me to be thinking about that at all. I just really wanted to bring this one point across because it means a lot to me. And also has a lot to do with like the songs I write. So that's why, it's going to kind of play a part in the next couple releases. But for now, what I do is I just like meditate and read up on why I am the way I am and like what I can do about it. Like just do like some psychological scientific research is what I've done a lot throughout the winter actually. And yeah, I just choose to chill out and not be so hyper selective or like hypersensitive to other people in general. Well, I don't know if everything I said so far kind of even points at the title of this episode, but another crucial point as to why I feel that way is because for where I'm at in life right now, I've kind of seen it all, or at least I've seen all I wanted to see and been all the places I wanted to be. So I kind of just like I've seen the best that's out there, and if it's not that, I don't want to look I don't even have anything to look for. Like around here especially. What do you want me go hit on some farmer boy? Don't think so. But I know what I need to know about men, and I've been able to stay friends with most of them, and that's actually so much more valuable to me than a quote-unquote boyfriend, whatever that is. I don't know. I've yet to find out. But besides that, I never had like this, having this kind of pact of like we're one. Like I don't know if I would feel so comfortable with that. But now on to like the spicy parts. There was one time I hooked up with someone and I looked up everything on them online probably almost a month beforehand. Do with that information what you want, but this is how selective I have to be because of what's been done to me before. It's like, call me a psychopath, but really? And what I found out about that person was just a lot of disgusting stuff that I do not agree with and never would and never will. So I was like, whoa, I should either keep my hands off completely and just like leave, or I could possibly have the most fun of my life because there's no feelings involved. So honestly, the best sex ever was, and probably will always be, when there's no butterflies involved. It is so freeing, so fun, so empowering. Everything that I thought, like up until that moment, I was terrified of sex. And that I shouldn't be, I guess. But that's kind of just how life had turned out to be for me. But that one time had turned it all around, thankfully. Like finally I felt like a woman. Like I felt included. I felt like I could get what I want in life. It's so much of that self-consciousness just completely evaporated. That was really like a revelation of like, this is probably what I want to be doing. If anything, romantically, that is what I want to be doing for a while, and not the butterflies thing. I just can't right now. I just can't. And what I'm trying to say with all this, whether anyone relates or not, let me know if you do. But I've had a conversation with a not so close friend recently online, and so I know someone definitely relates, and he was like, that's actually so inspiring how you go about a romantic life. Like you kind of just don't have one. And I realized like, yeah, but that's because I'm literally so immersed in the whole process of trying to like further my career. It's honestly, it's been quite a virtue. Like I don't actually miss it. I can't make this shit up. I don't miss anyone. I wouldn't want it any other way. Like I get up and it's just go time from there. And yeah, also unfortunately, like I said, the bar is like up there. I don't even see it. It's super high up there. I don't know what to do about that, but I'm not going to lower it. That's like why I sacrifice a normal life of like, I don't go out. I don't look for a boyfriend. I don't want to be doing that. I'd rather be like sharing my story through my art and climbing to higher places through that, and then look for someone there. That's my plan, at least. But now to make all of this make sense, like I totally understand, and I've had this said to me, like, you're such a narcissist. Like, that's crazy. That hasn't actually crossed my mind. And of course that's what narcissists do, but Hear me out. To make this make sense, the time that I've saved by sacrificing socializing in all aspects, pretty much, has gotten me so much, much closer to the ultimate childhood dream that, you know, is to have a decent artist project going, to have music that I fuck with, to be making stuff that excites me, that I think is innovative, to just describe, to be, you know, to reach this ultimate level of artist, of being able to like really describe a feeling with the littlest words. And that is all I live for, and it's all I have lived for. I don't really want anything else. I've given up on plan B's and C's and whatnot. No, I can't. And that's like why I'm here, trying to have a fresh start, but go into it with like giving you the information you need to really understand where I'm coming from. Because honestly, like, this childhood dream is, and having gotten so close, and everything that I fucking sacrificed, like everything I told you about in past episodes, has just been enough to push me over the edge of like, there is no going back. Like, you gotta go fucking full force now. Of course now, because it's only down from here. I'm not gonna be able to do this forever, like, but every time I had the choice between, do I go out and spend some money and like get drunk and ruin like whatever fitness progress I was having, or do I not go out and make sure whatever it is I'm working on gets done, so that I can get on to the next thing and the next thing, and just make sure I grow from that. Like, technically speaking, that was always the most important thing to me, to be technically on par with like the pros, because I'm a woman, and if I don't perform at the highest technical level, like, they're just always going to be like, yeah, she's just a girl, like, of course she can't be as good as the guys, or something like that, you know? That's been said to me. It's been said to me one time. Not many times, and I've been lucky, but one time that's been said to me, and I was like, okay, that does it. I'm just gonna make sure I technically outperform. And that's why, like, I know everything I need to know technically, in like, when it comes to music, DAWs, fucking cameras, lighting, like, I know all of it pretty intuitively at this point, and that's fine. But like, and that's nothing rare at all, but it's like, I wanted to really make sure I take it to the next level for myself, at least, to make sure my childhood dream actually becomes reality, and I finally really like what I see, and I can draw parallels to content that like actual superstars are putting out. And on the other hand, if I took this other choice of like going out and doing fuck knows what, I don't know what you do when you go out. I don't know why you do it. I don't know. Same with having work. I don't know why. It was never a choice for me, actually. Because if I took that choice of not sticking on the strict path of like trying to get to my dream, I would feel like betraying the inner child, like, so badly. That was always the thing. Like, it's like my inner child is like clinging to my leg all the time. It's like, please make this happen. Please do whatever you can. I don't want to see this fail. Like, this can't fail, possibly. Like, I would be so disappointed. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. That's like what the inner child, I think, is trying to say. And I only had this realization a couple of days ago, actually, when I was like trying to make some notes for this episode. Pretty intense, but super insightful. And honestly, I'm obviously interested in what others have to say about this, but for myself, I'm really okay with how things are and how things have been. A friend of mine said this perfectly very recently when I was like voicing how much was going on, and I was just spreading myself so thin just to make sure I still got back to this and got back to the thing that I'm trying to do. And he was like, yeah, but unfortunately we just live in this time where you have to spread yourself super thin for artistic endeavors. But I don't want to spread myself thin. I don't want to sacrifice sleep, like overall physical vitality, my physique, my health, my future health. I don't want any of that to suffer because of my inner child wanting to make this thing happen. So instead, I sacrifice a social life. And that's really like what I'm trying to say with this episode. It's not that I'm like, fuck everyone, I don't give a damn about other people. No, it's just really like this incredible urge of like, I feel like I have to be perfect. If I want to make it to those levels that I'm trying to get to, I have to be perfect, physically, technically, musically, obviously. Like, I just have to be so good on so many levels that I don't have a minute to spare. I don't. But this is really like, a lot of people, have asked me why I am this way. And someone very recently asked me this question, and I was like, why really am I this way? So I sat down for a day and I like took some notes and like really like dug deep, and I came to realize it's because I can't possibly, have this fail. I actually wrote it down here. I hope you don't mind if I read this off the screen. It's never about arrogance per se, just out of burning necessity that I feel like I can't take on certain responsibilities or risks with my time and sanity, or I would deeply betray the inner child that wants to see the grand artist vision come to fruition more than anything, or she wouldn't know what to do with herself. So yeah, that's actually the explanation for that. Yeah, so really there's like these, 3 aspects of like, I'm whole, I've had enough, I've seen it all, and I can't have any more time taken away from me. Yeah, because someone asked me this online recently and really like made me sit down and think about it, and so I did. Yeah, I don't know if I need to like throw any more punches here, but one last but crucial reason I don't look for a man is because I do my own plumbing, I do my own electrical work. I can kill spiders like of any size. Like, I've been to the African jungle for a while. Like, I know how to drive a tractor. I know how to I can lift heavy. I'm good. I don't really need a man, like, at all. And I just came to this realization, it's just like, it was just there. So yeah, I've learned all these things, like plumbing, electrical work, driving tractors, just doing filthy work. Like, just straight up standing in shit. I just learned all of that growing up on a farm and having to put in the work. So if I wanted something, I had to just like get down and dirty. Which is, another probably huge misconception about me. Like, I don't know, I don't look it, and there's a reason for that, obviously, because I'm trying to like get to places in LA, and I'm trying to move to LA and stuff, and you can't, I don't know. This is just a little easier on the eye than like than what I was going through the other week. And the reason I'm saying that is obviously because of these misconceptions that it's like I wish I had one sentence that explains all of this in a nice and understanding and like in a way that doesn't make me seem arrogant, but really explains like why I don't have it in me to pursue anything with you right now. I don't mean any harm. I don't mean to be a bitch. I don't mean to be a narcissist. But a lot of this also like is reflected in my music that's coming soon. So that's why there goes my bracelet. That's why I just wanted to address that. And it's helped a tremendous lot for myself right now too. Like, wow, I feel lighter. Here he goes again. I don't know, he's just a pinup for this whole series. So yeah, I just wanted to say like Louis is probably the only fella in my life right now. And when I need that oxytocin, I can just squish his little face. All right, that probably does it for today. I've said so much that I never thought I would say online probably, but it's I hope it's for the better at some point, because you know, the more people understand about where I'm coming from, the less I feel like I need to prove myself in the wrong ways, you know. I'd rather be real than under pressure for the wrong reasons, you know, because being misunderstood is like just a feeling I really want to completely rid myself of, like before the end of this year. And this is probably the way to go. The way to go. Well, with this episode, I mean. But yeah, let me know if you're like, if you relate in any way, shape, or form, if this inspired you, or if you're outraged and if you think I'm full of shit. Like, honestly, let's have a conversation. I'd love to like see other points of view and perspectives. Honest to God, like, thank you for listening to all of this. It's so freeing. But yeah, have a good night. It's actually close to 11 p.m. right now, so he's totally asleep. All right, see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye.